parkrun adventure, the Alphabet Challenge. Popped down to Thames Path in Woolwich today to kick off the tea. Woolwich obviously being famous for the starting place for Arsenal Football Club before they move north of the river. So down here in southeast London, it's an out and back course, and it's got a little mound, so continuing the mound theme from Northala Fields earlier on this year, or at the end of last year I should say. Continuing that on, so it's an out and back, go up to the top of a mound and then back down. So no real plans for today other than just to keep a marathon training pace run going, so I'll be doing about 30 minutes give or take, just easing myself around etc and having a nice day out. Bitterly cold here in London today, bit of a wind, got the gloves on, but let's go and see Thames Path park run down here in Woolwich. So first timers briefing done, just confirmed very much an out and back course. And then the mound that we go up, it's referred to as the Curly Whirly. So we're going to see the Curly Whirly. I think there's another Curly Whirly in parkrun terms as well. But yeah, was going to get the riverboat home just to mix it up and have a nice day out. But it's looking a bit foggy here in London today. So that might not be a worthwhile activity. So we'll have to see what happens at the end, see if it clears up in the next half an hour or so. So after the first timers briefing, people about 5 to 9 started to walk down towards the start point. The start point wasn't at the meeting point, so walked along the River Thames. I thought we'd be walking away from the finish, if you get what I mean, but we were actually walking towards the turnaround point. So obviously you run a bit further on the way back, but walking along the Thames Path, staying out the way of the cycle path, etc. And then the sort of run announcements were made just here. Good use by the organising team using the sort of balcony there on the top right, and then you can see how if you're a faster runner you'd want to be much further up the field than I was today, but I knew I was taking it easy, so started towards the back of the field over the start line, and then along this straight path with the Thames on the left hand side for a little bit, and just making our way along and trying to find a good pace. Found that people were quite speedy on this park run. I was moving along quite nicely, quite happy with my pace, but wasn't catching anyone by any stretch of the imagination. I was doing about 10-minute miles give or take, and using the stride power meter just to make sure I wasn't overexerting myself. After being on the concrete path for a while, started to make our way onto, I'm never quite sure what you'd call this path really, but a bit of a trail path. Obviously this is the Thames Path, I would imagine. I don't know for certain, but I would imagine that's what it is. And still running alongside the River Thames on the left hand side and just holding good pace really. Very nice surface to run on. I don't mind running on this surface. It's sort of almost like tarmac, but a bit softer and a bit easier on your legs, but it's not mud sapping, energy sapping mud either to worry about. And then we turned right into a park, and I should really know what the park was called, but the mind escapes me for the time being. This park, very nice, didn't feel like we're in it for very long, to be honest with you. Sort of as we make our way a bit further on, the mounds start to appear. It's quite interesting. There's the one big mound which you can see to the right hand side, but there are also some smaller ones on the left hand side which I wasn't expecting to see, no one had talked about, etc. But made our way along this nice path. There's one of the smaller mounds to the left. I did a bit of research on this mound. It's not as interesting as the ones at Northala Fields. It's not the rubble from Wembley Stadium. It's just rubble from a new housing estate or something like that, etc. You can see some of the quick runners coming back. So that was first place, second place and third place if they held their positions. Doing really fast time here. Be interesting to look up and see what time they actually did it in. I'll try and put that in some text, etc. So lots of these little small mounds around. And obviously keeping to the left hand side to stay out of the way of the faster runners. And then there's a right turn and we started to make our way up this climb. Found the climb quite straightforward today, nothing nothing too dramatic. It was a nice gradual one. Didn't really find it taxing at all. It was really good. It was quite drawn out, took a while, so you can see there to the left the people up ahead of us, and just slotted into a nice easy comfortable pace and getting distracted by the runners coming back the other way. So still making our way up this mountain. You can see the fast runners to the right hand side, and then a nice motivational sign telling us that we're nearly at the top. And then finally get to the top of this curly whirly, top of the mound, find a nice marshal standing on the top, encouraging all the runners as they run round him and to start to come back down the other side. So you can see how this would be quite a nice view on a clearer day. Round we go. Would have been good to stop for some photos on a better day, and then probably the only time that I've ever seen all downhill from here and actually believed the person saying it or the sign saying it. So all downhill from here. I did look at my stride power meter. One of the good things about that is it's instant, so it already told me that I was taking a bit too easy going on the downhills, so I picked up the pace just a tiny little bit just to keep it fair, but then started to get a bit carried away, so had to dial that back a little as well once I got going. You can see not quite as many runners coming up as when I was coming up, and then nice view over to the left when you get back to the level ground and see all the runners sort of still making their way around the mound and the curly whirly. So really nice sight to take in, and this part was quite nice as well. Just avoid getting taken out by a dog here. Dog nothing to do with parkrun, just out for a little walk, etc. And then saying thank you to one of the marshals on the corner point here. Wished him a good day. He wished me a good rest of the weekend, etc. So, and then you kind of feel like you're on the home straight. I'm not quite sure where this was. Probably about 2 miles. Might have even been as far as 2.5 miles, sort of 4k marker. Just keeping going, keeping everything under control, etc. So it's getting to that point of the park run where sort of in the final K, people are starting to pick up the pace here, there and everywhere. You can see people looking at their watches, etc. I'm just trying to do my best to stay disciplined and not get caught up in it. I'm not sure I did the best job today, but just holding back a little as best I can in the finishing straight, really. So finish just coming up. It's a straight line from here. You can see the pier of one of the riverboats on the right hand side, Woolwich Arsenal Pier. That's pretty much where the finish line is, so you've got a good view of it coming in. People bombing past me at this stage, all going for a good time, I imagine. Probably all trying to sneak under sub 30. I think I came in just over sub 30. Yeah, checking my results, 31:20 was my official time. I think my Garmin was 30 and 40 seconds or something similar to that. So over the finish line, and grabbed my finish token from this volunteer who was telling me that their toes had gone numb because of the cold. So thank you to them for standing out in the cold. All right, that was a fun morning. All right, that was a fun morning out in Woolwich this morning. Cracking time at Thames Path. Bit of a shame the weather, it's a bit cold. Quite fancy doing that river boat return back to central London, but a bit foggy, a bit cold. Also takes quite a long time. I think it's about an hour from Woolwich down to sort of Westminster way. And I've got other things to do today, so anyway, good excuse to go back into London at some point and do another park run, do the riverboat. So before I sign off, just going to quickly cover off the week that's been, weekly recap. Just coming right to the very end. I've got one more run to do of the sort of base phase of Hanson's marathon method, as I refer to it. So those opening 5 weeks of just gentle running, getting that consistency going. So 6 miles, 10k to do tomorrow. We'll get that ticked off. I was quite tempted to sort of round up parkrun this morning and get the 6 miles ticked off, but we'll do it tomorrow at some point. This week, again, ran on Monday, 4 miles easy. Went to the running club on Tuesday and they did a handicap 5k, so I didn't do an effort. I did a mile warm up, 3 miles, and I tried to pace a 5k in 30 minutes. I think I did it in 29:30, so and then a mile cool down at the end to round up to the 5 miles. Wednesday was rest day. Thursday, I think it was 4 miles at lunchtime. Friday, got 5 miles in yesterday. And then obviously this morning it's been parkrun. I think I was meant to do 4 miles today, but 3.1, we'll take that. So next week, we start week 6 of Hanson's marathon method, and as one person commented on a previous video, it's when Hanson's marathon method starts to get a bit spicy. So complete change now. We're not doing consistent gentle runs, we're turning up the notch. Tuesday it starts with a 12 by 400 meters session. The tempo run starts as well towards the end of the week, 5 miles I think it is, so they're meant to be done at marathon pace. So we'll start to find out what kind of shape I'm in for London Marathon. I've also just seen on social media that it's 100 days today until London Marathon, so there we go. Still feeling something in my ankle shin. It's not getting any worse, it's not stopping me running, so I'm just going to carry on for now, but just going to be mindful of it. If you've made it this far, thanks for following along. We'll catch you next week with another vlog update. So training gets a bit spicy from next week.